Hello my friends, sorry about that, I just chatted away to our blacksmith there, didn't realise you were there. Anyway, welcome back to another video. This one is a bit of a different one. We're kind of going to have a walk around this little setup that I've got here. Kind of looks like a bit, what came to mind when I set this up, IKEA shall we say? Or maybe a hardware store of some sort if you guys don't know what IKEA is. But yeah, it looks a little bit crazy, there's quite a bit down here. I've also got some set up on the roof as well. As what I thought we would do is, I've had people ask me in the past what all the different stations are that you can use in Conan, and yeah, this isn't all of them. There's a lot more still, and a few more upstairs, and also what thralls go where, because some people don't really realise what you can actually use where. So in this video we're going to take a little walk around, have a brief look at each station, tell you what they are, what they're used for, and what thrall you can put on them. So here we go. Alright, so if I start over here, I'll put myself in first person just so this makes this a lot easier for you guys to see everything. There are another couple of these you can get again. As you can see by the sign there, these are called a furnace. Any of you who already play the game will probably be familiar with all three of these. But to a brand new player, this is your stone furnace that you would get at the very beginning. And this is purely crafted from stone. You can heat it with wood or coal, possibly oil, different things for fuel, so you pop a fuel resource in there. As you'll see, it's got inventory space, so you need to put a fuel in there of some sort, and then you can put stone to craft it into bricks, or you can also put iron in there, so iron stone to turn it into iron bars. If you get gold stone or silver stone, you can put that in there as well, transfer that into gold and silver bars. And as you can see there is a square at the top that says Thrall, and all you need is either a smelter 3, they do come in number 1, number 2, number 3 and named. Ideally you probably want to get yourself, not a huge difference, but ideally try and get yourself a smelter 3. They're kind of the next best one before you can get yourself a named one. And just ignore the horses in the background there in the stables, noisy beggars. Yeah, as I was saying, smelter 3, all this does is if you put them in your furnace, it just increases the crafting speed ever so slightly. And the one that you can see this gentleman sat on at the moment is the improved furnace, so it's the better version of this one, which just means it's slightly more efficient and slightly quicker at crafting, then helped out by a smelter thrall being on there. This one, which is a very big one, is unlocked at level 60. This is the heat efficient furnace. Now essentially what that means is, especially if you use coal in this, it's heat efficient, so it uses less coal to craft things, and it crafts things a heck of a lot faster, especially if you play on a boosted server where the crafting times are increased. You just watch this when you put stone or whatever in here, you watch the bar at the bottom right, how fast, especially with a smelter on there. It's like a machine gun, is the way to describe it. You just see the bar firing off so quick, you can smelt anything. You're going to get a couple of these going in your base side by side with a couple of smelters on, you're laughing. And that is a female, as you can see there. That is what we call a named smelter. I'm not even going to attempt her first name, but the second name, as you can see there, Lead Drinker. Now for those of you who know the game, she spawns up in the little city. That is the friendly city, which is this area all around here, known as Maru. There's a few areas she can spawn, and you can see her stood in any of the crafting spawns, so keep killing all the different spawns where you find crafters, and eventually she may pop up, or you may get a male version. Pretty much any of these thralls you can get in there. Some of them, mostly Relic Hunter, sort of the Relic Hunter faction, kind of in that area, but anywhere around the map you'll get them. But a really good spawn for her is Maru, definitely. Pretty easy to get. Sometimes you may even get a spawn in a few times while you farm that area. So that is the smelter it, and there are a couple of others. There's a small kiln looking furnace you can also get, which is what they call a fuel efficient furnace, and essentially that doesn't just reduce the time and everything, that one actually well, like the title says, fuel efficient means it uses less fuel to do what you're doing, but things take a lot longer. I just sort of show you these three as an example, just to show you. So early game, mid game as you're leveling up, and then you've got this big one which is at level 60, so end game. So that is your smelters. If we move on to our next area here, you can hear these guys clunking away. Blacksmith, again, your basic blacksmith bench that you'll start out with. That looks like that, can fit in a corner. Then you want to get yourself the improved blacksmith. Now for most things in the game, especially when it comes to crafting epic weapons, you need at least the improved blacksmith bench minimum. Now there is a thrall on here again. I've actually got two at the moment. That's the same symbol, just to show obviously that you've got the space here, but ignore that one. And this one that is in here at the moment, she has what is called a little hammer symbol. That means that she is a durability blacksmith, so again a named blacksmith. So any of the spawns throughout the map you'll find where you can find blacksmiths, they have a chance to spawn a blacksmith, and it can either be this one as a durability. You also get the blacksmith with the dagger symbol, which is weapon damage, and then I think there's also another one which has like a broken shield, which is armor pen. And they also do share spawns with Blacksmith 1, Blacksmith 2, Blacksmith 3. And there are two areas sort of pretty much near each other where two blacksmiths can spawn on each area. One is a little, if you'll bench piece like this, where there's two blacksmiths stood near it, again in a separate room, and two tables where blacksmiths are. I'll show you at the end of this video pretty much where they can spawn, just so you know where the guaranteed blacksmith spawns are. They will always be blacksmiths. It's a guaranteed spawn, it's just not guaranteed which, but again, 1, 2 and 3 named blacksmiths, and they can be male or female. So just to show here, when you get to end game, you can also get this one, the garrison. This is, I think, yep, garrison armor blacksmith rather. And the garrison blacksmith bench will reduce your cost. So if something costs say 30 iron bars to make, this will reduce it by a few, so you'll actually get it cheaper still. If you play on boosted servers again, where crafting cost has been reduced, it'll cost you even less. And if you see at the top there, because of this blacksmith on here, where it's got that iron reinforcement symbol, as you can say underneath, it says to craft that, we can make that with 1 iron reinforcement and 1 steel fire. So that's actually a really cheap and easy way. If you've got a load of iron reinforcements knocking around and you need steel ones, get them to craft them on there. Because if you come over to this one, which is the campaign blacksmith, as you can see now, that symbol doesn't appear because there's no thrall on here. That's because you do need a thrall on the station to be able to do it. And the difference with this bench is this reduces the time it takes to craft things. So if you want time reduction, you want the campaign. If you want cost reduction, you want the garrison. And again, these are both, if you will, level 60 end game blacksmiths, and they pretty much take up 4 foundations each, as you can see there, sat in the corner. And again, Blacksmith 1, Blacksmith 2, Blacksmith 3, but ideally you probably want to get yourself a Blacksmith 3 as quick as you can, and once you can get yourself your named ones, male, female, that's even better for you. So that is blacksmiths, and they spawn all around the map as well. Next up we have the carpenters. This bench at the front is your basic carpenter's bench that you get at the beginning, and you can just see at the back here's another one, looks identical, but that is the improved carpenter. Just makes things a little bit more efficient for you as you're going on. Again, as you can see there, you have a menu on the right which will tell you all the different things you can make, so your insulated wood, your shape wood, bark, etc, etc. And again, this takes thralls, as does this bench that you can see here, precision carpenter. This is a level 60 bench again. Got our thrall on there, you can see him working away. That's one with a dagger symbol, so he would be handy. If you want to make a bow, you would give that bow a little bit more damage potential. This is the precision carpenter's bench. As you can see, it looks like a great big log with a bit on the floor. Looks pretty detailed, I do like this one. This again is a more efficient endgame bench because this reduces your amount of resources it costs to make things again. There is also another version which is not as long but a lot taller, and that reduces time. So it's pretty much with a lot of these endgame benches, they're either a time reduction or a cost reduction, but when you go to craft them, or not even when you go to craft them, but when you find them in your menus here, like this one for the tannery for example, you can see there it will tell you on the right the two types of benches you can get, what they're called and what they actually do. It will actually describe to you what they do before you craft them. Again, carpenters, they have multiple spawn points all around the map, and there is one actually right next to one of the blacksmith spawns where there are two carpenters that can spawn. There is also a named taskmaster who looks like a carpenter because she's wearing pretty much like what I'm wearing now. She can spawn there as well, but they are pretty much otherwise carpenters, and they can be dotted around separate room as well. And then in with the carpenter you can also use this, which is your drying rack, and all you need to do for this is if you pop some bark in there and some regular wood, you can turn that into dry wood to make your insulated wood, and that will also give you resin, so it's another way of producing resin, which is great. Or as you'll see when we go up on the roof, if you're using the gardening like planters and the farming stuff, as you grow your plants you can take so many of those plants you've already grown, pop them in here, and it will turn them back into seeds of that plant for you, so you can keep constantly producing your seeds to allow you to grow more flowers. So that's kind of another one under carpenter. Then we move over to the armourers. You see why I said this was going to take a little while? It's like walking around IKEA. So yeah, beginning of the game you get your basic armourer's bench, and as you level up, again this is another bench where you can see on the right you can make all the armour sets on here. These will not be the epic ones, you can only make the regular versions of armour. Again, this will take an armourer, and you get armourer 1, armourer 2, armourer 3, and named armourers once again who all have different specialisations, if you will. Talk about those in a second. Again, they spawn all around Seppemru, and there is also one guaranteed armourer spot as well, also where the blacksmiths are, and male and female, and again it can be a 1, 2 or a 3 or a named if you're lucky. And what you then get is your improved armourer's bench, which you need as you level up. This then allows you to make your epic armours, which give you better armour values, etc. And then as you can see there, we've just got an armourer 3 in there, and if you've unlocked various other extra things here, they will appear on the top, where if I take this armourer out a minute, you can kind of just see there now how my menu's changed. And if I pop them back in, you get a lot of extra stuff that unlocks. Try and get yourself an armourer 3 as well, or a couple of armourer 3s earlier on, or if you end up getting your named armourer and you've still got a 3, keep them, because there is a bench upstairs called the Tanner's Table that we'll talk about when I get up there, and armourers are also handy for that one as well. And there is another station again, there's 2 stations actually that an armourer can go on. You've got the Tinkerer's Bench, which is just across there that we'll come to, excuse me, and you can also put them on here. As you see there, that's another named armourer, that's the durability armourer. Doesn't really matter which one you put on here, but when you're making your saddles for your animals, so your horses, etc., pop an armour on here. You can put a blacksmith on here as well, but the armourer is the one I choose to use. You could use the shield right if you want more armour value for your saddles, but if you just want durability, any armourer will do it. Pop them on there when you're making your saddles. So that is the saddler's bench. If we come back to our armourers again, now these two look very similar to the first two, but yeah, a heck of a lot bigger. This one in the corner is kind of tucked behind here, but you can just see this whole thing, this is part of it as well. This is the campaign armourer's bench, pretty much like the carpenter and the blacksmith again. This will reduce the time it takes you to craft armour with a named thrall on here, so any of the armour specialisations, which you've got the durability armourer, like you've just seen on the saddler's workbench, You've also got one with a dumbbell symbol, which is weight reduction. So that armour will reduce the weight of any armour that you craft. So it makes it a lot lighter, especially if you're making heavy armour. That can be useful, but the one I recommend also to go with this bench, because this is the perfect bench I find, the Garrison Armourer's bench. This one is the, yeah, you guessed it, resource reduction. So again, cost reduction. This bench reduces the amount of material it will take you to craft your armour, and your best armour, person or male, female, that you can get again at that same armour spawn that I mentioned in Sorcery, which I'll show you at the end. You want to get this one with the shield symbol. That is a shield right armour. They will give you the best increased armour value on armour that you wear yourself or that you make for your followers. You can use either of them, it's entirely up to you. It's not meta that you have to use the shield right, but a lot of people do highly recommend the shield right because of the increased armour value you get on any armour that you craft. And if you craft them on the Garrison bench, it also costs you less to make them as well. So if you're making Silent Legion or Champions or Godbreaker, all that type of stuff that is top tier armour, end game armour, that takes a lot of resources to make. I'm talking black ice, star metal, hardened steel, armoured scraps, all of those, hardened leather. Do them on this bench with a shield right and it'll cost you a lot less. This bench here, we're getting there, don't worry. Told you it was going to be a bit. This is the Tinker's bench, and you can just see another thrall in the menu there, because the one that is in at the moment is a Blacksmith. Any old Blacksmith again, it doesn't have to be the one with the hammer symbol, but the reason why I've got a Blacksmith in here, apart from all of your fittings that you can make for weapons, your armour platings, and different bits and pieces, which are pretty self-explanatory what they do. I won't go into them all now because we'll be here too long, but you'll see all the resources it takes to make them and what you need. But the reason why you put another named thrall in here is, as you can see at the top there, if we have a Blacksmith in there, we can make the legendary weapon repair kits, which is awesome, because if it takes you a while to find those in the world, once you can make them yourself, it saves you a heck of a lot of trouble. And if we swap them out with the armourer a second, that symbol changes, as you can see, because that means with an armourer we can make the legendary armour patch kits. So you're pretty much self-sustaining by that time, which again is pretty good. Then we come over to casting table. You don't have to have a thrall on this one, I've just stuck one on just to show you. Symbol doesn't really matter again, but this is just to show. Put a thrall on there. If you've got anything crafting, it'll just kind of, sometimes when you start something on a bench and then walk away, if you go back to it you'll find it stopped. Typically if you've got a thrall on there, it will keep doing what you were doing. So if you're making glass flasks, it will keep creating those, and even if you walk away, they'll still be available. Casting table, if you want to see a video on this, going into a bit more detail on any of these benches, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll try and talk through them as best I know, just to explain what you can make on them and what they're for and why they're any good. We'll do that in a future video, but this is just a quick walkthrough at the moment. So that is down here. You'll be pleased to know we're halfway through. Well, I say halfway, there's a bit outside yet as well. But then if we go up here, I'm in the jolly outdoors, which is nice. Another start game item, fireball cauldron. Again, you can see that has a space for an alchemist, so that's an alchemist you need, which again have 2 guaranteed alchemists, but no, 3, at least 3 guaranteed alchemist spawns in Sorcery, where there will always be alchemists. There's 2 cauldrons, one that has 3 stood around it, one that has 2, and one that, where it is just a spawn next to a little bridge that will always be an alchemist as well. And you can pop them in that bench, and then as you level up, just for example, as you can see again here, we've got an alchemist 3 in here. That is the improved fireball cauldron, which just reduces time and cost and everything again, and is the better version of this one. So as soon as you can upgrade to this, get this one. We also get our alchemist bench, so with an alchemist in here, ideally a level 3, I think it's only from level 3 that this will work. As you can see at the top right there is an oil symbol. This means that if we put ichor and bark in this station, not only can we make our other potions and other bits and pieces, with ichor and bark we can make oil, and as most of us know, in Conan Exiles we need a lot of oil for armour crafting or platings or weapon fittings. A lot of it takes oil, so this is a really quick and efficient, easy way to make oil rather than your fluid press, or even waiting for your fish traps to do, where you then put the fish in the fluid traps to fluid press rather, to then give you oil. This is a lot more efficient and quicker. And again, this is just the upgraded version of that bench. And the difference there is, I don't know if you noticed, if you take a look at the menu down on the right with the level 3 in, you can see the top line of things that we can do there. However, if we get a named person in here, and it can be the witch doctor, male or female, from summoning place, if they spawn, they do share a spawn with the Yogg priest, so just be aware of that. Or if you go to one of those alchemist spawn in Sepamaru, you can get Ibis of Zingaria. She's one of the named ones that spawn in one of those locations. If you can get her to spawn, she will also give you the ability, if we go over here, to craft all your pouches and things that you need for sorcery, which is pretty good. And you can do all sorts of other different things with her there. You can make these for your radium torches, which are really cool. She'll also give you an option here where that says fill. To basically explain what that means is, if you put empty glass flasks in here, rather than you having to go to a well or a water source to fill your glass flasks up, if you need water filled glass flasks, give them to your alchemist and they will make them into water filled glass flasks for you on there. And this is just a big example of another alchemy station you can get at endgame, so precision. So again, cost reduction. If you're all about cost reduction and you've got the space, I mean, because let's face it, look at the size of that thing. You need the room for it. That will help you do that. Just while we're sort of talking about alchemy, because of the flasks, as you can see here, again, you can put an alchemist on here. This is your dyer's bench where you put all your different ingredients, whatever they are that you need. So oil to make black dye, raw ash for example to make white dye, and as you can see there, you'll see all the different dyes appearing. It will show you underneath what you need to craft them. So your water filled flask, and then whatever colour it is you need, or the ingredient that's needed to make that particular colour. So that's why you can, another place you can use an alchemist. Well, we're kind of covering these as we mentioned it downstairs. If you're getting into the garden growing side of things, compost bin, we've spoken about that in a previous video, how to grow your own garden. I'll put a link for that at the end of this video, go check that one out if you haven't seen it already. And then your planters, also talk about those in that video, save going into them here. Check that video out and it'll go into more detail for you. Fluid press, obviously you can't put a worker on there, but that does pretty much what it says on the tin. Anything that you can squish, bones, meat, human meat, so human flesh is good for crushing to get blood. You can put pretty much anything in here. Like I said, a fish to turn them into oil, but you're better doing it on your alchemy bench really. And then the grinder, stone, will, if you put stone in it, turn it into spices for you. No, it won't, salt, sorry. And if you put plant fibre in there, it will turn it into spice. And if you put bones in, that will give you bone meal that you need, again, to go with your planters. Link at the end of this one for the video talking all about that. Well, we're getting there, we're getting there. Just a bit more up here and then a little bit downstairs to show you, and then I'll let you go. Right, why I mentioned about an armourer down, keeping a spare armourer downstairs, an armourer 3, is because even though we have a tanner on here, this is the tanner's table, where all your different hides and things you can get out in the world. So your reptile hide, all your different hides, so wolf hide, all those different ones, you can craft those, pop those in here, and your tanner will turn them into normal hides for you, or thick hide, depending on what they are. That is a tanner that goes on there. Again, various spawns all around the map, and separate room where a tanner can spawn, and you can also get named tanners. Now, if you complete the journey step in the new journey system, you can get this. Those horses are very noisy today, they obviously want feeding. I'll have to do that when we're finished. Yeah, as I was saying, this bench here, the improved Tanner's bench, is a pretty good one. Not sure this will do it with this one, but if we just take her out of there for a second, and then if I pop her in there, that doesn't actually change. But if you have an armourer, for example, if we just take her out a minute, give me a second here, let's just run back down. Where did we keep that spare? No, that's not you. Let's just borrow you a moment. As I say, we take that armourer, oops, and you pop them when it loads on that bench. As you can see on the improved bench, we now get 2 additional options where we can get silk from Gossamer, and also there we can do stitch, which means if you need thick leather and you've got an absolute ton of normal hide but you don't have any thick hide, and you're nowhere near any rhinos or anything like that, and you haven't got time, or you don't fancy going out to fight any rhinos or elephants or anything like that, stick a couple of stacks of your normal hide in this bench with some twine, and they will stitch it into thick hide for you. So especially early game, if you've got this bench, that is really helpful. Let's just double check. If we come back to the regular bench, pop them in. Yeah, you can't do it on that one. You can put them on there, but it doesn't actually make any difference. So yeah, that, as I say, is the tanners, and they also go on here, which is your tannery, which needs bark, bark as a fuel. And as you can see there where it says Thrall, you pop your tanner in there. So tanner 1, tanner 2, you'll probably get those early game. Ideally try and get yourself a tanner 3, a lot more beneficial. Get yourself a named tannerer again, named tanner. Again, you've got the improved version, which just reduces production time and everything like that again, and gives you a lot more inventory space. And then end game, you could get this one. Clues in the name once again, precision. We should all know by this video now what that means, precision. It means cost reduction, so yeah, cost reduction tannery. Again with the name tanner in there, male, female, doesn't matter which one. You find them all around the map, pop them in there, they just make your production even cheaper and even quicker. So then let's jump back over here before we go around that last bit. You all know the campfire. You don't have to have a thrall on this one, but if it's all you're using, it's a cook of course. Cook 1, cook 2, cook 3 are named. Again, various spawns in separate room, two guaranteed cook spawns, and various ones around the map. I'll show you those again at the end as well. They also go on the large campfire. You can also use them on this stove and the improved stove around there. But just to show you here, you can see we've got the lone fisherman, who is a spawn that can spawn, not guaranteed but can spawn in one location on a little island in separate behind Conan's bar. And just to show you there, he also comes in female, so female, male, again separate room. This is pretty much the same as the basic stove around there, just as you learn all your recipes around the map, they will all show up on here. And especially like your spice foods, so spice steak, spiced haunch, iced tea, all those type of things, you can craft them on here with any sort of cook, preferably a cook 3. Even if you can get the baker, I can't remember his first name, but you got the baker, and there are a few other named male and female cooks that again you can have on these stations. But if you get a lone fisherman, grab yourself one of them. And again, cooks spawn all around the map as well, so they're easy to find. Artisan table, pretty much when you learn all your artisan recipes, so when we say artisan recipes, it's like all these type of things here and other bits and pieces, and then you need to try and get an artisan, which aren't necessarily quite as easy to get, but you just put them in there. You don't always really need them on here, they don't make a huge benefit really, and you probably don't use your artisan table all the time, so you're pretty much okay with that one. This one doesn't take a thrall, as we know. This is the dismantling bench. You pop things in the top and they give you the resources down the bottom. Again, if you've just done the journey, complete that journey step, get yourself the improved dismantling bench, slightly bigger inventory space again, and this will actually give you even more resources back from the item dismantle than what this one did. So if you're dismantling star metal swords from Mounds of the Dead or wherever, or harder steel weapons, in this you'll get so much back, where if you do it in here you'll get twice if not 2.5 times more back. Fridges, so I call them fridges, preservation box, same thing. That's the basic version with your small inventory space. You need ice for this, so you either need to get up into the snow or have a very good friend who has some ice already or is prepared to get up into the snow if they can do it with the right gear, because you do need cold weather gear for the snow. Keep one stack of ice in here, keep your food in here, and it will keep it for you. Same again with the improved version, but just as you can see there, you get more inventory space. This here is where, if you don't like a particular appearance on your character, you can revisit this and you can change hairstyles, hair colour, whatever you want to change again, appearance, etc. You can do all that on there, so that's purely cosmetic. That again is level 60, I believe. Just handy to have in your base if you want to change your character's appearance at any time. Right, so that is everything up here. There are just a few bits down there to go through, as you can see, so I'm going to hop down there now and I'll bring you back when we're ready to go there. Alright, so I'll catch you in a second. Alrighty, welcome back. We're at the end, if we got to know. Getting there now. It's taken a little while, but we got there. Quite a long video, I know, but wanted to just try and highlight all the benches and different thralls you can use on them, just to refresh people's memories and just to help out new players especially, really. You can get this bench also, Torturous Workbench, where as you can see there you can make your truncheons and your bindings, and in this slot here the thrall you need is a Taskmaster, so a level 1, level 2, level 3, or a named one. Or if you get the Taskmaster I was talking about that spawns like a Carpenter, I think they're called a Driver or an Overseer, something like that. They look like they're dressed like a Carpenter, but they're actually a Taskmaster. Pop them in there and you'll be able to create things like the chain bindings, which are better than the basic leather ones that you can make. Whew. Right, then when you start your thrall taming journey, this is the first Wheel of Pain you can unlock. This will take a Taskmaster as well, even though it has this massive inventory space. When you've got one person on here, you can only have one at a time, so that's a single person thrall wheel, or as we like, Wheel of Pain, or as we like to now call them, Wheel of Friendship. That's what everybody calls it now. I call it the Wheel of Friendship, not the Wheel of Pain. Then you get the upgraded version. As you can see, I've got a Taskmaster on there, and this one can take 4 people on it, so 1 on each post with a Taskmaster. And then the final one, which is the Greater Wheel of Pain, or as we say, Greater Wheel of Friendship, and this can take 8, so that is 2 people on each bar, and then you've got a full wheel of 8 people. Again with the Taskmaster, as you can see, that's a named one, just to show you there. Again, they can all have different symbols, different names. The Den is a good place to get Taskmasters. You also get them in Separate as well, and other locations around the map as well, so keep an eye out for them. And if we go over here, Chapter 3 brought in the Age of Sorcery. With the Age of Sorcery we get the Thaumaturgy bench, and you put a character called a Sorcerer on this bench. Now the way this system is set up, unlike the other benches where you need a named person to be able to do anything really, it doesn't matter whether it's level 1, level 2, level 3 or a named Sorcerer, but you can knock out a Sorcerer, pop them on here, and as you can see on the right there, once you've learned up ignore all the books, this is because I'm in creative mode, why it's showing me those, but at the top That's where your Tome of Karak will be, and you can see what you need to upgrade it to get your sorcery leveled up. But you can also craft sorcerer's spell pages with 10 failed pages with a sorcerer on the bench. And the other really cool feature to this bench is, if you've got, say, Silent Legion armour that you really like for the stats, but you can't stand the style of it, and you've got another set of armour that you really like the style of, craft both of those, and then if you place each of the Silent Legion piece one by one in this first box, so the helmet for example, and then put the helmet of the armour set you do like in this box, click this button, it'll appear over here, and you'll still be wearing Silent Legion or Redeem Legion or Godbreaker or Champions, whatever it is you're using. You do it that for each piece, and then when you equip them, in your menu here, as you can see for me it's a bit of a mishmash because of what I'm using for this video, but you'll be wearing Redeem Legion or whatever it is you're using, but you'll have the appearance of what you've actually changed it to. So it's pretty cool. It's a bit like an illusionary system you could do on PC with a mod, but this is how you can do it on console. This doesn't take a sorcerer or anything, you just literally knock out an NPC, drag them to this bench, tap square on it like you do with the Thrall wheel to place a Thrall in there, it will chain them up, and then you can either do the blood sacrifice, which means you do a gruesome animation and slit the throat and claim the blood from the body disappears. Quite brutal if you don't like that sort of thing. Look away while it does it. Soul drain, again you can take their soul and get soul essence, which is a whole other video again of different uses for. And then the sacrificial blood in a flask, you need to do this blood one first to get the blood, and then a glass flask, and then you click on this and that will put that as sacrificial blood in a flask for you. Circle of Power has different things you can spawn, all to do with the sorcery side of things in chapter 3. Obviously when the new age comes along, many people might not be using this as much, but if you die out in the world it'll give you certain resources to place in here, as you can see there, and you'll be able to summon your body back to your base and claim all your loot off it. So it's all sorcery related again, and these that you can make, that you place things into and you ignite them, and if you place another one somewhere in the map you'll be able to step into this, a big bubble will appear up around you, you'll see a little floating stone, interact with the floating stone and it will teleport you to where your other stone is that you've placed in the world. Really good sort of transport system, probably more efficient than the map rooms because obviously you can directly travel between these. However, the downside is you will gain quite a bit of corruption, so you want to make sure you've got a dancer either with you or sat at each of these so that when you get back you can clear your corruption, otherwise you could be having lots of fun and games. Last two, if you're getting a horse, so you go out and find a foal, you can find these out in the highlands or over on the edge of the jungle. One really good place that I do recommend, and I hear a lot of people recommend if you're going to for them for the jungle, is to come to this bit here. So all along this front green bit there's 4 or 5 different spawns for foals. Bring them back here to your stable, pop some plant fibre in there, pop the horse in that top box there, and you'll see them start crafting down the right, and then eventually once they're ready you'll see them appear in the stable there, and then you can take them out and use them. And you can use your saddler's workbench to make them a saddle, pop the saddle on them, and you can ride around the lands on a horse, which makes travelling heck of a lot more convenient and heck of a lot more quicker. Now I've only put this one down because the actual armour pens in the world are a lot bigger. I'll include some pictures at the end of this video just to show you what they look like so you've got an idea of what to expect, but they take up a lot of space, and to be honest with you, trying to put 3 of those down including everything else that's already here would have taken a ridiculous lot more time and a lot more space. But last couple of updates ago they added this, same as the stable, add your food here, whatever you're going to feed them, place the pet in there and they will grow up, and you'll see them in the cage there, just the same as the big animal pen, the reinforced animal pen and the armoured animal pen, which is the one you would need for growing things like rhinos, elephants, all those more bigger dangerous sort of animals. It explains them when you craft them, what they're used for and what animals you can put in them to tame them. So yeah, if I've missed anything, do let me know in the comments down below. Again, let me know how I'm doing. Any questions, ask them. Questions, comments, leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Just helps the YouTube algorithm push this to more people. As I say, I've said it before, if you do find these videos helpful, please let me know down below, and then I can keep making content that you guys actually want to watch rather than me guessing what you want to watch. So what I'll do now is, before we go, I will nip over to Sorcery and just quickly point out a couple of areas where you get some of these crafters from. So I'll join you in Sorcery in a second. Okay, we're back again. Here we are at Sorcery, and if you're coming up from the main part of the map, you'll come in through that gate there. If you're coming past your name city, you'll have a couple of fighters or a fighter with an archer here. This is a taskmaster spawn here. There's always a couple of fighters or archers there. This will be a taskmaster, level 1, 2 or 3, or possibly named if you get lucky, male and female. Always a taskmaster there. What I will do is, I did do a Sorcery guide a little while back, but I'll do an updated version where I'll just walk through again and just highlight some of the more main spots that may benefit you guys a little bit more, rather than trying to cover it all in this video. But you get a spawn there, a crafter. This will always be a crafter or a dancer here. This can be an entertainer or a crafter here again, so blacksmith, carpenter, etc. Another one there with the various trades, including dancers. So it won't be a fighter or an archer, but you'll always get one of the crafts or a entertainer there. This spot here is a guaranteed alchemist, so 1, 2, 3 and named. So that's guaranteed alchemist. We quickly zip across here. 3 alchemists here, again 3 guaranteed alchemists here, level 1, 2 and 3, male, female, always alchemists here. So that is guaranteed, and also they can be dotted around up the top. And if I just quickly fly up over here, I need to make sure I get the right bit. Just cross up over here onto this bit, so you can kind of see where I am here. There's the market. If you run up this wall here, again one of the craft trades or a dancer, always a fighter or an archer. 2 alchemists here, always alchemists again, 1, 2, 3, male, female and named, guaranteed. And then if we go down here, run through here, little bit of a tricky one because those bandits will aggro, but there's an alchemist spawn there, that's always an alchemist, a little bit more of a tricky one to get. Just if they are walking, yes they are. This sort of area down there and up to here, as you'll see there, is a bearer spawn. All the levels again, 1, 2, 3. And they're named if you get lucky, but it seems to take a lot to get a legendary to spawn there. So that is the alchemist. Guaranteed cook spawn here, and surprise, look at that, male lone fisherman. But again, this does come in female, and also the cook 1, cook 2 and cook 3, but guaranteed always a cook on this spawn here. And then this little stove here, always be a cook, all levels again. And if we carry on along here, always carpenters, and also the named taskmaster that I mentioned that also looks like these guys, which is a taskmaster. She can spawn here. These are always blacksmiths, so this is one of the main guaranteed blacksmith spawns that I mentioned. These will always be blacksmiths. They'll always be carpenters, but also shared with that taskmaster. Carpenters can also spawn lower down where I mentioned to you as well at the beginning. And if we jump up here, I'll just come past this one a minute. If we come here, this is the second guaranteed blacksmith spawn. So again, male and female, all the different tiers, always a blacksmith on these 2 spawns here. Tanners are kind of all dotted around. Cooks can be dotted around as well, as with the carpenters, blacksmiths. all of them. They're kind of all dotted around, but if you keep an eye out, like I say, if you guys let me know if you want a updated Sephiroth walkthrough, and I will do one of those for you. And this is the guaranteed armourer spawn. Armourers can spawn all around, but again, this is guaranteed. Again, male, female, armourer 1, armourer 2, armourer 3 are named. Now that doesn't mean when you get a named that you will get the shield right. You might get the colour scout right, if that's right what I'm thinking of, which is the weight reduction, or you might get a temper right armourer, which is the durability. And what will happen is you'll have the name at the top, and then where it says armourer in red now, it'll say shield right or temper right. I think it's temper right, whatever they call it. Yeah, the different name will be where the bit says armourer in brackets now. So that's pretty much it for the guaranteed ones in here. If you're after set priests, they spawn here. And also here, like I said, I'm not going to go into these in this video because it'll just be too long. But you've also got another couple of crafter spawns here again, random and a mixture. And if you're doing your quest line, you're looking for Conan, just for those who want to know, he's right there. And you also have 3 guaranteed dancer spawns in there. Level 3s, they will always be level 3 dancers. So that is Sephiroth. As I say guys, that is just about it for this one. Bit of a lengthy video I know, but just wanted to quickly go around a lot of the different stations, just show you what we've got. It's surprising just how many different stations there are, and it's no wonder people need big bases to be able to fit these in. But just wanted to cover it on my channel as I haven't done it yet. Hope you found it interesting. If you did, leave me a comment. Hit the thumbs up if you found it helpful, and subscribe if you haven't already. I do want to just say at this point a very big thank you to those who have subscribed, especially all our newest members over the past few weeks. Glad to have you with us. It's so good that you're with us. Hope you're enjoying the content and hope you stick with us. Do tell all your friends all about us if they're interested in the game as well, and hopefully we can benefit them. We're so close to 100 subscribers now. Now I know to a lot of people that doesn't sound a lot, but to a new channel like me, that's pretty exciting. First little milestone, you know, to say that you've got a triple figure channel, 100 subs. That doesn't sound a lot when you think some people have got millions, but do you know what? We're not in a rush. We're just here to enjoy playing our games, enjoy learning together. I enjoy making these videos. You guys enjoy watching them. What more can we ask for? So once again, a big thank you to everybody, and if you haven't subscribed yet, why haven't you? You don't know what you're missing. Anyway, it's totally free to do. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. Fair enough. Right, I'll leave you there guys with a couple of pictures at the end now that will show you the other animal pens as I mentioned, and then I will catch you in the next video where we will look at something else. So until the next one guys, take it easy. Bye bye for now.